Hello, sir.
Yeah, ma'am.
Sir, actually, I will share you the feedback sheet with both the dates, sir, like yesterday date and today's date. So please inform the students to fill the dates accordingly. For 2 times they need to do. For yesterday's, for one day they need to do one feedback, and today's day they need to do accordingly. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Okay, sir. I will be sharing you now. You can uh, put in your session, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
Hi guys, good evening. Let's get started for today's session. Let me share my screen. Can you all see my screen? All right. Okay. Yeah, let's get started for today's session. So in the last 2 days, what we saw is we just go over the MySQL basics. So some basic commands of like DDL, DML, and DQL, and some other concepts like class, aggregate function, keys, and other things. Okay. So now the next 2 days, so starting from today, we will go with MongoDB. Okay. So how MongoDB works and how to install them and other things we'll see today. So MongoDB is nothing but it's a non-relational database management system, which I mentioned in our first class in database. So what is a non-relational database management system? So it doesn't, it is like we don't have any relationship between the data. So for example, in the case of relational database, we have a relationship between user, post, and comments. But in the case of MongoDB, it's a non-relational database and we don't have those relationships. We don't have anything called SQL. We don't have any languages in there. Okay. So that is all about your non-relational database. Okay. So there are multiple non-relational database and one among is MongoDB and there are something like Cassandra and other things. We'll go with MongoDB as an example. Okay. So that is all about your non-relational database. No structure, no relationships, no languages, nothing. Okay. It's a pure documentation part. Okay. So let's get started. So let's move on to the installation part. Okay. So the installation part is so the best documentation ever in anything you go. Okay. So MongoDB documentation is the one which has the great documentation. So go to the download section here. MongoDB community download. Okay. So you can just go over the community server here. I just shared this URL, just download it, and other steps are very simple. Okay. So in the case of Mac, same way in the case of any other OS like Windows, just download them. Okay. So it will install you the image. Okay. So nothing new. Okay. So the same way. So you just need to give next. Okay. And that is the thing. And if you want to know the documentation, I told you, right, the best documentation ever in any technical stuff. Okay, MongoDB is the great documentation. So go here. So you need to download your MongoDB here. Okay, so this particular URL, so mongodb.com, try download community server. Okay, you can select your platform and other things. Okay, so once this part is installed, okay, so you need to follow this documentation. So I will go here. So Windows, right? So I will go here. So here is the step. So you need to download the installer. So this is the installer. Okay. So you download it. Okay. They have the link here as well. You can just click them. It will go to that particular website. Okay. So steps are just go there, choose your version in the drop down, platform, package. So version, platform, package. Okay. You can choose anything here. Okay. And click on download. Once it is done, it will download your .msi file. Okay. So I told you here, right? It will download a .msi file. So see here, this is a .msi. So once you click on that, okay, you need to double click. It will be in your download section. Just double click them, okay, and the step-by-step process that you need to follow here, okay. So there will be a choose setup type, okay. You can choose like complete or custom and other things. Always prefer complete, okay. So basically, you need to follow this particular documentation completely, okay. Each and every step they have mentioned, okay. No new things are being added. Just download the file, okay. The first tab is choose setup type. You can give complete. Okay. Once it is done, go to the service configuration here. Okay. So it will open something like this. When you go there, okay, you just need to click on this like run install MongoDB as a service. So just follow the same steps. Okay. So just follow the same step. You can give your location if you want. By default, there will be a location and the same. So each and every file, what is the service name, the data directory, log directory, what all things, so they have mentioned here itself. Okay. So once it is done, your MongoDB is completed. Okay, installation is completed. Only this particular screen, just give next and every process will be completed. Okay. So that is all about your Mongo installation, and this is going to be same for other platforms as well. Okay. So nothing new. So only this particular design varies between the OS. Okay. So please follow this documentation. So if you go here, so I will share you these documentations. So once you follow this documentation, so based on your OS, just this link is enough. And if you go to the link, okay, so if you have Windows, go to here, okay, and come to the steps here. First step is you need to go to here and download your things. So download the things. Other than that, nothing new, and just follow the documentation here. Just 3 steps. Okay, so nothing new. So in the case of MySQL, what we did first, we installed MySQL and then a GUI tool, so to visualize your data inside an application. So we install something called MySQL Workbench. Okay, same way in the case of MongoDB, so your installation process is completed till this. Okay, so installation process is completed till this. Okay, if you want to have some GUI to visualize your data, to see your data, okay, so there are multiple apps, some preferred apps that are for MongoDB. Okay, so some apps are so we'll install something called MongoDB Compass. Okay, or you can use something called NoSQL Booster, or you can use something called Studio 3T. Okay, so these are all some tools, something like Workbench. Okay, so in your MySQL Workbench, what you did, we just wrote your query and get the result, right? Same way, if you want to write your queries and other things, okay, you can use either of this. Okay, from these 3, we can use any of them. Okay, so MongoDB Compass is given by your MongoDB itself. Okay, so if you go here, so they will say like this is optional. If you want to have MongoDB Compass installed, okay, you can go here and install them as well. Okay, so if you prefer MongoDB Compass, you can use that. So if you want to use NoSQL Booster, so if you go to NoSQL Booster, so here, this is the website. So you can just go to the platform here. So based on your platform, for example, if it is Windows, just click on this. Okay, so it will download your exe. Just follow the steps, just like next. Okay, so that is the thing. Same way for Mac. Okay, oh yes. So this is for NoSQL Booster. Okay, so I use NoSQL Booster here. Okay, um, in your session here. Okay, so this is NoSQL Booster. This is the logo here. So once you install it, okay, you can now write your queries and other things. So you can use Studio 3D. So what happens here is MongoDB Compass is a free version. Okay, so it's always free, but its UI is like a bit tough to write queries. Okay, so this is given by your MongoDB directly. Okay, and so which is more efficient? Workbench. Which is more efficient Workbench? No, it's not the case. See here, for your MySQL, there are again there are something tools like this. Okay, one other tool is, so we basically follow MySQL Workbench. Okay, so it is again it's a tool. Okay, so there are some replacements to MySQL Workbench as well, but you should always prefer Workbench. Okay, so what is the reason is MySQL, who invented MySQL, like Microsoft, gives your Workbench. Okay, and it is a great tool to write your queries. Okay, so you don't need to find any alternatives to your MySQL Workbench basically. Okay, if you want to have it, okay, so we never tried it. Okay, so something like alternate, which we use just, yeah, so we use HeidiSQL. Okay, so you can use HeidiSQL if you want. Okay, so this is one kind of a tool. So same way for here ADSQL. So basically what happens here is MongoDB Compass is given by your MongoDB itself. Okay, so it is free. Same way here MySQL Workbench is given by your MySQL itself. Again, it's going to be free. Okay. But these tools are external tools. NoSQL Booster, Mongo 3T, same way HeidiSQL and SQL Pro. These are all something like the external tool. Okay. So for your MongoDB. Okay. So these are all something like you need to pay, or there may be a free trial. Same way this applies to this as well. Okay. So what happens here is Workbench is a good tool for your MySQL. You need not prefer HeidiSQL. If you want, you can do it. Okay. But in the case of MongoDB, okay, so MongoDB Compass is the UI is something like it is not like user friendly in order to write queries, and that's why we prefer other things as well. Okay, so we prefer NoSQL Booster or Studio 3T, and both has a free trial versions. Okay, so I use a free edition. So here free edition. Okay, so what happens here is, so only certain queries only you cannot query. Okay, other than that, most of the queries you can write in your NoSQL Booster. Okay, so some basic queries are supported by your NoSQL Booster. Okay, it's not like we need to pay or other things. Okay, you can use your free edition of your NoSQL Booster. Okay, so that is the thing. So these are all some tools to follow. Okay, but the own tool is like MongoDB Compass, MySQL Workbench. These are all their tools. Okay, so that is the thing. So you can install either of them. Okay, so I'm going to use NoSQL Booster here. I have given you the URL here. If you want to use MongoDB Compass, you can use them. Okay, so the installation process is just like when you click on Mac OS or Windows, you can see your documentation just after your MongoDB installation here. Okay, just go here. Okay, it will just give you a try it now, and just it will download exe for you again. Okay, you can use them. So that is all about your MongoDB installation part. Okay, so any questions on this, on the installation part? Already. Okay, so the installation part is done, and let's move on to MongoDB and other things now. So basics of MongoDB. Let's get started. Okay, so after your MySQL class, okay, so now you know what is a table. Okay, so what is a table? What is a column? Okay, and what is a row? Okay, so these things you know, right? So you have a database. Okay, so you are going to have a database here basically. Okay, so once the database is created, inside your database we will be using we'll be creating tables, okay, in order to store our data. Okay, and inside your table, okay, you will have columns, you have rows and other things. So columns is nothing but we are defining like it's columns like ID, name, title, body and other things, right? Same way rows are nothing but the each and every record that you insert into your table. Okay, so this is all about your MySQL. Okay, the same way here, table is nothing but a collection in the case of MongoDB. Okay, so we will not call it as a table. Okay, it's a collection. Okay, same way, columns are nothing but fields here. Okay, so fields. Same way here, rows are nothing but documents. Okay, so this is the terminology. Okay, so here again it's going to be database. Okay, and table is nothing but a collections. Column is nothing but your each and every columns is nothing but a fields. Okay, same way rows are nothing but your documents. Okay, so we consider in this way. Okay, suppose if they say like what is how many documents are inside your MongoDB, it's like how many rows are inside your that particular column. Okay, sorry, that particular collection. Okay, so documents are nothing, it's nothing but your each and every records that you insert, right? So that is something called documents. And your documents, like you have fields, right? Like ID, name, title, body and other things. Okay, so those things are nothing but your fields here. Okay, and tables are nothing but your collections. Okay, this is the terminology. Okay, so now So our basic part is done. So now let's see, okay, so how your data are stored in your MongoDB. Okay, so you have learned JSON, right? So in your JavaScript class or React class, we saw JSON, right? So our data is stored as a JSON in your MongoDB. Okay, each and every document or each and every row here, right? So these data are stored as a JSON in your database. Okay, so as you know now, so what is a JSON? Is like something like a basic JavaScript object, right? Okay, your queries, what you have DDL DML in your MySQL, right? Same way here we write queries, right? So the way we write queries is nothing but JavaScript. Okay, so we will write something like it is exactly like JavaScript, like if you call a function or if you retrieve a JSON, other things, right? So those things, okay, you can directly do it here using a plain JSON object or a JavaScript object. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so this is basic. So I told you like tables are collection and columns are fields and rows are documents. Okay, so now you can now assume that I told you, right, there is no structure, there is no relationship and other things, right? So now each rows in your document, okay, for example, this is a basic Java, it can have name equal to, so it can have a name equal to GUI. This is first row. Okay, so meaning like document 1. Okay, same way we can have document 2. So again everything is stored as a JSON. Okay, your document 2, again it's going to have name equal to something like Tamil, and we can have any other properties as well, something like city. Okay, Chennai. Okay, something like this. So see, this particular row or document is something, it is in certain form. Same way, this particular row is in a certain format. Okay, like it has one more property. Okay, and you don't have any structures here. Okay, you can have some properties added to this for your first row. You can have properties added to your second row. Okay, basically your each and every row is nothing but a JSON object. Okay, you can store any values inside it. Okay, it is not like you can store in this way. Okay, so that is all about your documents and other things. Okay, so that's why it's like no SQL, no predefined structure, no relationship. Okay, and see here, the fields are nothing but name is a field here. Okay, so something like column. Okay, same way here, name is a column, and second row is having a different column. Okay, same way your first row is having only name as a column. Okay, but in the case of SQL you cannot do that, right? So you have DDL command. You will first define your table, like this table is going to have a column called ID, name, title, and body. Okay, here in your MongoDB you cannot like define them. Okay, you can have a different structure for your first document, you can have a different structure for your second document. Okay, but we basically follow the same kind of a structure. Okay, but what happens here is you can store any data inside each and every row. Okay, and that's why there is no data, no structure, no SQL things, no relationship and other things. Okay, so that's a like brief introduction of your database collection and documents. Okay, clear on this so far? Alrighty. Okay, so now let's move on to our let's move on to our, what else we have, database commands. Okay, so let's see. So I get, yes. Okay, I'm getting repeat once. Okay, I'll repeat once. See, if you are clear about MySQL, it's very easy. Okay, so if you don't know MySQL, it's really tough. That's why first we took MySQL and then I took MongoDB. Okay, then only it is easy to compare the databases. Okay, so MySQL we have tables, so post table, and we have inside we have columns, right? For example, ID, name, title, and body, right? And each and every table has some rows inside it. Like we insert some data, right? So post ID equal to 1, title equal to something, and body equal to something. Okay, so those terminologies here, right, exactly compared here in your MongoDB as tables are nothing but the collections. Each and every columns that are called as a fields, each and every rows that you insert, right, same way here it's a documents. Okay, So that's the terminology here. Okay. Also, in the case of SQL, okay, so why it is non-relational or why it has no structure or no relation is okay. So this is your first row. For example, this is your first row in your table, okay, or the collection. Okay. So you can have a different column like name equal to Gooby. And same way for your document too, you can have a different column like name and city. Okay. So there is no predefined structure to your collection. Okay. So it is going to be each and every row is a JSON object inside your MongoDB collection. Okay, each and every row. Okay, every rows or each and every document is a JavaScript object. Okay, or a JSON. You can have anything inside it. So basic JavaScript, right? So you can have any contents like key value pair. You can have anything inside it. Okay, it is not like you can have only in the case of SQL. What we had like post table should have ID, title, body, and user ID. Okay, but here it's not the case. Each and every row can have a different structure, but ideally you need to follow the same structure. Okay, in the case of building a web application. Okay, but it can have any kind of a feature or any kind of values inside each and every row. So each and every row can have a different key value pair if you need. Okay, and that's why no relationship, no SQL things, and it's just like a plain storage. Okay, you're just storing a object like a variable. Okay, so consider each and every document is a different variable. Okay, or an array of object. It is going to store in your MongoDB. Okay, clear? Clear now? Okay. So let's move on to the next topic, like database commands. Okay, so we start with each and every commands. So we saw something like DDL, DML, and other queries, right? Language, right? Same way here, there are certain things. Okay, let's see. Okay, so first is your database commands. Okay, so go here. Just go to install your NoSQL Booster. Okay, so initially how it will be is, so initially it will be blank, something like this. Okay, so very blank. Okay, and same way in your okay, MySQL, what's the default port? Okay, same way in your MongoDB, once you install it, the default port is 27017. Okay, so this is the port usually MongoDB uses. Okay, so if rows can have different key, what about unique value for rows? Will there be indexed automatically? We'll see it. Okay, we'll see it short. So default port is 27017. Okay, so go here. So this is how it will be blank. Okay, you can go to here, drop down. Okay, and you can click, and this is like I use it. Okay, so you can use something called from URI. So it will open in this like something like a brand. Okay, so blank thing. Okay, so it will have default collection with a default port, MongoDB, and localhost 27017. Okay, just give connect here. That's it. Okay, so it will connect to your database and it will list all the database. Okay, so I already have one thing here in the name of local. Okay, so inside my I have a connection called local. Okay, and inside that I have this much of databases inside my collection. Okay, inside my MongoDB. Okay, so you can have your own database. Okay, if you want. Okay, and here if you want to create a collection, sorry, if you want to create a database. Okay, so no specific commands basically. Okay, so what you need to go do here is, I'm going to created a query tab here. Okay, so I'll have just like this. Okay, so see here, so can I zoom it? Oh no. Okay, so this should be enough. So here, this is just like I just took a query param. Okay, so if you want to create a database, okay, just give use. Okay, and whatever the database name you want. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so see here, switched to DB Gooby. Okay, and if you refresh here, okay, see, it will not show. it will not show your GUI database here. What is the reason here is your database is considered the whatever the database that you mentioned, like use GUI. Okay, so whatever the database you mentioned here, okay, if it does not have any collection, okay, then it will not show it here. Okay, so it's not like only for this particular NoSQL booster, it applies to any tool that you go. Okay, so basically whenever you create a database, okay, if there is no collection inside your database, okay, it is not created as a database at that point of time. Okay, it will just show you a message. Okay, but your database will not be created at all. Okay, so basic thing is that, okay, it's how your MongoDB works. Okay, just give whatever the database we want, something like this. If you run this, okay, so if you run this, okay, so whatever the dimension run this, okay, it will just give you a message like switch to database. Okay, and you can create your collection here. Okay, but it will not create a database at any point of time. If you refresh here, I created 3 things, right, but it not see here. Okay, what is the reason here is it will just have it in a memory, like it will choose like all the queries to be made inside your GUI database. Okay, but one, you don't have any collection for your GUI, right? So that your GUI database will not be available. Okay, it will be deleted basically. Okay, so it is just throwing your message. Okay, but the GUI database is not created in the MongoDB. Okay, so this is all about your creating a database. Okay, so we basically follow this here. So creating or switching to DB. Okay, so we basically follow this. So use the DB name. Okay, so example is use GUI. Okay, if you do this, now you can write query to any query to your GUI database. Okay, so whatever, now if you create a collection, okay, I will show you how to create a collection basically. Okay, if you do this, automatically your DB will be inserted. Okay, so your DB will be created. Okay, so we are just switching to, okay, switching to our database now. Okay, so whether we have to choose, no, it's case insensitive. Okay, the same as MySQL. Okay, you can directly write select query something like this, like select star from in your MySQL. Okay, you can, if you want to use it capital, you can use it as well. Okay, so that's not an issue. Everything is case insensitive. That's what I told you on the day. Okay, so now we just created our collection. Okay, and now whatever that we do, okay, it will apply to that particular database. Okay, so now move on to create a collection. Okay, so collection is nothing but it's going to be your database, right? Tables, right? Okay, so in the case of SQL, what we did, whenever you create a table, we will give some definitions like it should have this column, it should have some data type and other things. Okay, but here, okay, nothing like that. Okay, so use GUI. Okay, so now you can write your query here. So see here, this is the syntax. Everything is start with DB. Okay, so the DB is nothing but a connection string for your GUI. Okay, so this DB is nothing but now pointing to your GUI. Okay, DB dot, okay, see, this is purely JavaScript. Create collection. It is having a function. Okay, your DB object is having a collection inside it. Okay, something called create collection. Okay, so you can mention your name here. Okay, suppose if you want to create post table, okay, DB dot create collection of post. Okay, it will just have use GUI. Okay, this DB here, right? This keyword, see here, see the documentation here, where DB equal to mongo.i database. Okay, so basically everything in your MongoDB is written using something like a JavaScript. Okay, so DB is nothing but a variable which is pointing to your GUI database. Okay, and GUI database dot create collection. Okay, it is something like creating a table. Okay, so if you can see here, see the documentation Mongo. So see the documentation Mongo I database dot create collection is just a function. The first name is name. Okay, and other things are some options to it. Okay, it will just give you the documentation. Okay, so now, okay, I'm going to run this. So now it's created. Okay, So your database is your collection is created. Your first collection is created. Okay, I'm going to refresh now. See, oh, sorry, it's case sensitive. Sorry, I need to drop this. I don't need this anymore. I need to give it in this way, maybe. Okay, so if you run this, okay. Okay, so if I go here, refresh. So after GUI, okay, so if you mention semicolon something like this, okay, it will take it as directly the name. Okay, so that's why I just removed it. Okay, so see here inside the GUI you have a table called post. Okay, so I'm going to click on post here. Okay, see now it doesn't have any records. So see here, no columns. See here, key, value, and the type of the thing. Okay, for suppose if you have ID and value should be something like this, and it will show you something called integer. Okay, data type. So we need not mention our data type. We need not mention our definition, like it should be, the key should be something like this, the column should be something like this. We need not do that. Okay, everything is done by your MongoDB itself. Okay, so now we created a collection. Okay, so this is how we will be creating a collection. And now see, your GUI database is showing here. Okay, so directly, so it's showing you GUI now, and inside that we have post table. Okay, so now so your collection part is done. Okay, so you don't need to define any columns. Just mention the name that you want, it will be created automatically. Okay, so now if you want to drop a collection, okay, so DB drop is nothing but, I told you, right, we are going to drop that particular table. Okay, so how to do that? Okay, so see here now, so DB dot post. Okay, post is nothing but the collection that you created, right? So DB dot post drop dot drop. Okay, so this is the, I just comment this. Okay, DB dot post dot drop. Okay, so what it do is it will drop your table. Okay, so once you drop this table, so drop is done, it will return you true. Okay, suppose if I refresh it, so now it doesn't have any collection. Okay, so see, now it doesn't have any collection inside it. Okay, see now your GUI will hide from your local connection. Okay, what is the reason? Because your database will be considered, okay, it will consider as a database only if it has at least one collection inside it. Okay, so how to create a collection? So create collection DB. This DB is going to point to this database that you mentioned here. Okay, so you can use GUI here, or you can just use it in this. Okay, suppose if I use monitor, okay, it is going to point to your monitor, something like this. Is these are all some databases. Okay, so I will use if you want to use GUI. Okay, so you can use GUI directly, something like this GUI. Okay, see, it is pointing to GUI again here. Okay, so DB dot create collection. Okay, and we can mention some name. Okay, so collection name. So, and the example is db dot create collection of posts. Okay, simple as that. So now how to drop a collection? Drop collection. So go here, db, and whatever the collection name that you mentioned. Okay, so collection dot drop. Okay, so basic understanding. Example is db dot post dot drop. Okay, so basic understanding is this. So we just created a collection, we just dropped a collection. Okay, so basic things are here. Okay, clear? So far clear on creating a database and deleting the database. Already. Okay, so now, okay, so what I'll do is I'll create the collection again. So I have created a collection now. So I'm going to refresh. Here I'm going to refresh. Okay, so my GUI collection is done here. Okay, suppose you have multiple collection inside your database. Okay, suppose if you want to remove your collection, drop your database. Okay, so meaning that deleting your database. Okay, so how to delete a database? So same, first you need to point to that particular DB. So DB dot. Okay, so there is a function again, which is something called drop database. Okay, see, every function is nothing but you write your JavaScript functions, right? Like get data, fetch data, delete data, create something like same way, create collection, drop database. Okay, so basic JavaScript functions. Okay, if I do this, okay, your GUI will be dropped. Okay, so database will be deleted. Refresh. See, GUI won't be displaying here. Okay, so that is all about your deleting your database. Okay, so DB dot drop database. Okay, so if you call this, okay, your database will be deleted. Okay, so basic understandings. So now we just completed our creating our collection basic things. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll quickly go over our commands. Okay, so here we just showed you how to use drop the database, and so I told you creating a collection, dropping a collection. Okay, so basic understandings are we just completed till this. Okay, so now what are all the data types? Okay, so data types. Okay, so data types, how can I show you? Okay, see here. So data types. Okay, so see, everything is exactly similar to your JavaScript. Okay, see here, there is a database, that is a thing called string. Okay, there is something called integer. Okay, so string is nothing but, as you mentioned, something like this. You can have anything like this. Okay, and same way integer. Okay, 1 comma something like this and other things. Okay, same way there is something called boolean. So as you know, it can be true or false. Okay, and see the advantage of your data type here, your MongoDB here. You can store your arrays. Okay, you can store it as an array, something like 1 comma 2 comma 3 4 and whatever. Okay, same way you can store array of objects as well. Okay, so one sort of an example is, so name equal to array of objects. Okay, GUI, and inside that you can have again another object name equal to test. Okay, you can have it in this way. So this is one sort of an example. You can store your object as well. Okay, you can store it as a data types or object. You can store plainly something like age equal to something like 21. Okay, you can store it in this way. Same way you can store null values. You can store date. Okay, you can store what else? What else? Any other things? Yeah, so you can store your double. Okay, so double is nothing but, I told you, right? So point digits. Okay, floating types, 34 points 45. There is something called 43 points, something like this. Okay, and there is nothing called float here. Okay, so here I told you float, right? Floating data type. So this here, and if you have many digits, you will go to double, right? But here everything is double. So whatever the point comes, okay, it is going to be a double type. Okay, there is no limits. You can have any length, any type of data. You can store, you have huge amount of data inside it. Okay, and same way you can have dates. Okay, I told you or how to store dates. Okay, same way if you want to store time, you can use something called timestamp. Okay, so these are all some data types that you can insert inside your MongoDB. Okay, so but the understanding here is you are not going to mention anything, like it is going to be a string, it's going to be integer, boolean, other things. Okay, so whatever you insert it, okay, it will automatically understand that these are all the data types. Okay, so you'll see it in short. Okay, so basic understanding is this. So you need not store, you need not mention any data types. Okay, you can store any values. Okay, so whatever the data that you push, okay, it will automatically understand. Okay, your database will automatically understand. Your MongoDB will automatically understand what is the data type it is. Okay, so you'll see it. Okay, so your data types are done. Okay, so far, do you guys have any questions? Can we move on to the CRUD part? Creating the data, updating the data, removing the data, deleting and other things. Can you move on to the topic? Timestamp. Yeah, that's what I mentioned. If you want to store your data, date and time, you can use the timestamp. Storing your time. So yes. So let's move on to our CRUD operations or the insert and delete and other things. Okay. So first is CRUD. Okay. So inside your CRUD, we are going to see create. Okay. So create, how can we do it? So create is nothing but we're going to create a record. Okay. So basically like inserting a new record inside your database. Okay. So let's see. Go here. I'm going to first create a collection. Okay. So your collection is now ready. Your post collection is ready. Okay. So see, GUI has something called a collection called post. Okay. And you can, it has zero data inside it. Okay. Because you haven't inserted any data, right? Okay. So see how to insert a collection, insert a data inside your collection. Okay. So how do you drop a collection? Basically db dot whatever the collection name. Okay. Dot drop, right? Same way for insert. Okay. So insert your data. There are three functions. One is insert, insert one, and insert many. We basically follow these things. Okay. To insert a data. Okay. See. First, I will show you what is insert one. Okay. So insert one. Okay. See db dot post and dot insert one. Okay. Post is nothing but your collection name and insert one. Okay. Insert one is nothing but, okay, it is going to only insert one record. Okay. One row. Okay. So for example, I can supply an object. Okay. So if it is an insert one, we can supply it as an one object. Okay. Suppose if it is an insert many, we can store array and you can pass as many as object you can pass. Okay. Those records will be inserted. Okay. So insert one takes an object as an input. Okay. So this is the object that is going to insert, that is going to be inserted in your collection. Okay. So what I'll do is I will go to JSON placeholder / posts. I'll insert this particular data now. Okay. So this collection, sorry, this record. Okay. Document. Okay. So I'm going to insert this data. So user ID 1. So insert 1. Okay. It is going to insert into your database. User ID equal to 1, title and body. Okay. I just removed the ID column alone. Okay. So I'll show you why I removed it. Okay. User ID, title, body. Okay. Three columns or three fields. Okay. Run this. Okay. So it will be inserted into your database. It will give you like acknowledge, like it will give you true. Okay. And see here, it will give you an ID automatically. Okay. So once you go here, okay. So I'll show you the ID. See now that it has one record inside it. Okay. If you go here, so this is the record that we inserted. Okay. User ID, title, body. Okay. See, automatically it converts in, it shows your document type. Okay. See here, user ID equal to double. Okay. And title equal to string and body equal to string. Okay. And see object ID here. Okay. So this is the ID which will be generated. Okay. Automatically. We don't need to mention auto increments that we had in a MySQL, right? So same way here, we don't need to mention anything. Okay. Each and every record inside your MongoDB, okay, whenever you insert a record, automatically there is an ID generated, something called underscore ID, okay, and automatically generated ID in your MongoDB collection. Okay. So whenever you insert a data, you don't need to mention any ID. Automatically ID is generated and with your data. Okay. See object ID, double, string and string. It will take automatically the data types. Okay. So this is how we will be inserting data inside our using our insert one. Okay. Same way if you use insert many, okay, you can insert multiple data. Okay, so I can pass an array. Okay, so array, and I can pass one more data here. Okay, so here I can pass one more data. So basically array of objects. Okay, so see, I'm going to insert this data. Okay, and I will take one more data here. So instead of inserting this, I'm going to insert this. I don't need ID column here. Okay, so if you use insert many, see, I'll run this. See, it inserted 2 records. Okay, and it will give you an array of inserted IDs. So these are all the IDs that has been inserted. So if I go here, okay, and run this, okay, now it has 3 records. Okay, so 3 rows. So here, this is the first record, second record, and third record. Okay, so if you want to this particular tool, right, it will give you in certain format. This is tree structure. If you want to show it as table, okay, it will show you as a table structure. If you want to have it as a JSON, it will show it as a JSON structure. See, ID, user ID, title, and whatever that you inserted, it will show it in here. You can just go over here and change the views if you want. Okay, this is going to be a title table. It's going to be a tree here. Okay, so by default it's tree, and that's why it's displaying as a tree structure. Okay, so 3 records has been inserted using your insert many. Okay, db.post.insert many. Okay, so that is all about your insert one and insert many. Okay, so, so then what is the purpose of insert? Okay, so insert is nothing but it will support both your array or it will support only one data alone. Okay, basically you can use you can use your insert statement. Okay, so you can use your insert statement as is nothing but your it can be used as a insert one, it can be used as a insert many. Okay, so first I will show it as a insert one. Here I can pass a JavaScript object. Okay, so I'll pass this here. Okay, so I do this, so it is inserted. Okay, and see, you're here when you use insert. Okay, it is not going to give you the ID that you inserted. Okay, it will just give you a confirmation that one record has been inserted. Okay, so this is how insert one works, because it takes one object. Okay, suppose if you want to have insert many, okay, you can mention it as an array here. Okay, you can insert 2 data. So go here and take this 2 data. Okay, I'm going to remove the ID alone here, and done. Okay, so now see, inserted 2 records, and go here and see, now there will be 6 records. See, if you want to store it as a JSON. Okay, so see, these are all the records that I inserted, and same if you want to table structure, it has 6 data inside it. Okay, so this is all about your insert one and insert many. Okay, so insert is will act as a insert one and insert many as well. Okay, see here in your insert one, so for example, if you use insert one and try to insert an array, okay, something like this, okay, it will show you an error. Okay, so in basically inside your insert one, you cannot pass an array of values. Okay, so because it is going to insert only one value, right, you can pass only one object to that. Okay, and same applies to your insert many. Okay, so that is why we have different function, insert one and insert many. If you want to both act as a insert one and insert many, you can use insert. So insert will take both object or an array. Okay, it will insert in any part, any format. Okay, clear on this part, clear on the insertion? Can everyone confirm? So let's move on to the next thing now. Okay, so next thing is I can explain this. Okay, so I told you, right, your ID. Okay, so your ID here is automatically generated. Okay, so what happens here is, see the type it is having. Okay, so here we go to the tree structure and open that particular thing here. Okay, see the ID. Okay, it is like automatic generated and it is of a type called object ID. Okay, so object ID is nothing but it's again a different object ID is nothing but a data type. Okay, so inside your MongoDB, okay, it supports a thing called object ID. Okay, so what this ID is, okay, so how this ID is generated is it takes your current time. Okay, so it takes your current time. It is actually like 12 bytes. Okay, so your ID here, right? So I'll take this example. So consider I have some IDs inside it. Okay, something like this. Okay, so something this, okay, something like an object ID here. Okay, what happens here is I told you, right, this ID is generated automatically. How it is generated is it is stored as a 12 bytes memory. Okay, so 12 bytes in its memory. Okay, and each and every byte is generated like first 4 byte is nothing but your current time. Okay, so it takes your current time. Okay, and next 3 is, okay, your process ID. Okay, so this is something like with your OS. Okay, you need not consider this. Okay, but just understand this. Okay, 7. Okay, so now current timestamp, process ID, and what else? Okay, so last 2 digits. Okay, so it is going to be last 2 digits is going to be a random number. Okay, so basically a random string. Okay, I can have it in this way. Okay, so this is how your ID is being generated. Okay, so it is not like it has some length. Okay, its length will be like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. It's kind of be like 24 characters. It will vary. Okay, so basically it will vary, but in its memory it will have only 12 bytes. Okay, so what the 12 bytes give you was, okay, so this is the thing. Okay? So 12 bytes represents something like this. Okay, so it is a combination of your current time. Okay, so when this particular record is inserted. Okay, so that particular time. Okay, then your process. Okay, for example, each and everything in your everything in your MongoDB or in your OS. Okay, for example, we use Zoom call. Okay, so this is going to be a process. Same way I used Visual Studio. Okay, I just open my Visual Studio. So Visual Studio will act as a process in your OS. Okay, same way you have started your MongoDB, right? So now you started a MongoDB, right? Your MongoDB is also a process in the backend, right? So that particular that particular process, okay, it will have an ID in your OS. Okay, so that is all about your machine ID. Okay, so basically that is a process ID. Okay, so then the random string is the last 3 bytes. Okay, so I'll show you the exact definition now. Okay, so it is going to be 12 bytes. Okay, and first 4 bytes it's going to be your current timestamp. Okay, so when that particular record is inserted. Okay, time of record inserted. Okay, this is an interview question, that's why I'm just explaining it again. Okay, so first 4 bytes. Okay, it's going to be it's created using something called current timestamp. Okay, so when you inserted that particular record. Okay, and next 3 bytes. Okay, it's going to be your process, sorry, it's going to be machine ID. Okay, so machine ID, and then next 2 bytes it's going to be your process ID. Okay, so machine ID is nothing but each and every machine will have a unique identifier, right? So there may be there is a concept called MAC address and other things. Okay, so that particular ID is going to be 3 bytes. Okay, and next 2 bytes is going to be a process ID. I told you, right? Each and every process. So each and every application has a process inside in your OS. Okay, so that particular next 2 bytes is nothing but your process ID. Okay, so 4 3 7 8 9. Okay, and last 3 bytes it's going to be a random string or random number. Okay, so you can have random number. For example, 3 digits is nothing but I have 101. Okay, and next digit is 102, and next digit is 103. Okay, last 3 random numbers. Okay, last 3 bytes. Okay, it's going to be a random number, and that is going to increment. Okay, one after another. Okay, so that is how your ID is being generated. Okay, so this particular ID can have any number of length. Okay, but in your memory it's going to be 12 bytes. Okay, so they will surely ask you this in your interview question: how is object ID or ID is generated in your MongoDB. Okay, you need to mention that your ID is generated automatically by MongoDB. Okay, and it is stored as a 12 bytes. Okay, and first 4 bytes represents the current timestamp. Okay, so current timestamp is nothing but when you record, when you inserted that particular record. Okay, and then the next 3 bytes is going to be your machine ID. Okay, machine ID is nothing but you will have a unique identifier to your machine, right? Using that particular ID, it will generate 3 bytes. Okay, and next 2 bytes is going to be your process ID. So process ID is nothing but each and every application is a process in your OS. Okay, like Zoom, Visual Studio, Google Chrome, whatever. Okay, same with this process ID is nothing but your MongoDB process ID. Okay, same way, last 3 bytes is a random number. Okay, something like an incrementer. Okay, so it's something like it will start with 00. Okay, and it will just increment like 001, 002, and other things. Okay, so random number. Okay, so last 3 bytes. Okay, so this is how your object ID is created. Okay, so this is how your object ID is created. Okay, so if you see here 60, 6F, I see the random numbers. Okay, because everything is acting as a current process, right? Okay, length varies. Okay, but inside the memory, okay, you will have the same IDs here. Okay, so see 61 something like this. Okay, FF and something like this. These are 60, 61, 62, 63. Okay, so currently the MongoDB is running in one process, right? There is nothing like a different process, and that's why every ID looks the same. Okay, and what else will machine ID will be same. Okay, only the time changes, right? Okay, and when your time changes, okay, your ID will also generate, will also be modified. Okay, so that is the understanding of your 12 bytes. Okay, so it's not like you need not choose your things here. Okay, you don't compare your 12 bytes here. It's not like 12 characters, so don't mention like 1, 2, 3, and 4. This particular 4 bytes is nothing but a timestamp. It's not that. Okay, so it's not the case. Okay, this is just an automatically generated ID. Okay, it uses 12 bytes memory. Okay, inside your 12 bytes, how it is generated is using these things. Okay, 4 bytes, 3 bytes, 2 bytes, and 3 bytes. Okay, so these things vary. For example, what else the thing vary? Your current timestamp will vary. Process ID will vary. Like if you shut down your MongoDB and then later point of time, if you restart the server, okay, service, your MongoDB, okay, it will have a different process ID. Okay, same, it's a random number. Okay, so it is based on it is completely based on your OS and processes. Okay, so you need to just consider this. Okay, you need to have it in your mind. Okay, so whenever you come to a MongoDB, this will be your question. Okay. Yeah, so explain machine ID and process ID. Yeah, that's what I mentioned, right? Machine ID is nothing but your unique identifier for your machine. Okay, so you might have a different machine, and others might have different machine. Using that, it will take 3 bytes. Okay, same way process ID is nothing but each and every application in your OS is nothing but an process. Visual Studio Code, Zoom, Google Chrome, whatever. Okay, so it is something like a process ID. Okay, it will have a ID for it. Okay, so it will take 2 bytes for it. Okay, and yes, that's all about these two things. Is there any significance of this auto-generated ID? No significance. Okay, it is going to be auto-generated. Okay, it is just to identify uniquely in your row. Okay, so in your document. Okay, there is nothing significant here. So it acts as we have a primary key in our MySQL, right? Same way here, ID is going to be a primary key. Okay, so you will use this ID to, so whenever you insert data, there will not be any duplicate data basically. Okay, because everything is inserted at the based on timestamp, right? So you cannot have a duplicate values inside your rows here. Okay, clear on the insert part. So create so create is going to be have insert db if you have insert one, it will insert one data, insert one doc db insert many insert multiple doc. So again, db dot insert single or multiple. You can mention either anything here. Multiple doc. Yeah. So how can you use such big random ID in real time? How can we use such random ID? Yeah, we are doing it here. Okay. So all your MongoDB need to use that particular ID or that particular ID only. Still we use the same ID. For example, here post/1, right? Okay, we will use that particular ID here. Okay, so some random strings here, based on that we will be displaying. So that is how your MongoDB ID is created. You cannot overcome that. Can we alter ID? No, you cannot alter. So your create part is done now. Okay, so we just create. We'll have this at the end here. Okay, so some randomly created digits. Okay, so now your create operation is done. Okay, so let's move on to finding the query. Okay, so finding is nothing but we are going to query or select queries and get the data. How can we do that? Okay, so here we have completed our ID and object ID. Okay, so let's see. We have find and find one. Okay, so again it's going to be db.collection.things. Okay, so see here db.post.find. Okay, so db.post.find. Okay, when run this, see it is going to list all the data in your application. Okay, so that is the purpose of your finding query. Okay, so create, now it's going to be read operation, db dot that particular collection name dot find. Okay, so it's going to fetch you multiple things. Okay, so get multiple docs. So it's going to fetch you multiple documentation documents in your MongoDB collection. Okay, so just use find. Okay, it will give you all the documents. Okay, same way we have something called find one. Okay, so what happens here? So as you assume, okay, what will find one do? So find one is going to only find only one particular data. Okay, so only one particular data, whatever the condition that you mentioned, okay, it will apply to that. Okay, so find one. Okay, so I'll first I need to explain you class. Okay, so we have something called var class, right? So like only this particular ID should come, right? So for now, okay, see here, if I use find one, see it will return only one record, which is the first record here. See, find one. Suppose if I use find, it will retrieve all the documents. If I use find one, it will retrieve only one document. Okay, so that is the example of your find one. Okay, so db collection find one, get single doc. Okay, it's very simple. Okay, you just need to use find one or find based on your requirement. So you can use find one to retrieve only one record from the entire list. Okay, or if you use find, okay, it will retrieve all the records in your collection. Okay, clear on this? Which single doc will it display? I told you, right? First record, it will display the first record. Or if you apply something like var condition, okay, so based on the var condition, what is the first record? Okay, it will retrieve that. You will see the class. Okay, so we have a class, right? We will see it tomorrow. Yeah, that is what. And if you want to find your particular record, we need to apply var condition. Okay, so we will see the class tomorrow. So since you guys asked me like how to apply condition, like I will mention you about the var class alone. Okay. So we have var class in your MySQL, right? Same way you can apply conditions here to check the data. Okay. So I use find. Find will take your var condition as a first param. Okay. So your first parameter here, right? It will take your var condition here. Okay. For example, I go here and applying a condition. So you just need to give your basic JavaScript object here. Okay. For example, I will use this as a condition. Okay. So title equal to this. Okay. So get all the records where title equal to something like this. If you do this, only that particular record will be coming. Okay. So how to apply where condition? Title QUEI, something like this. You can mention anything here. Okay. So whatever that matches inside this JavaScript object you mentioned here, okay, that will be retrieved. Okay. So here, see, so title equal to whatever the mention here. Suppose if we don't mention anything, okay. So suppose if we don't mention no condition, it will retrieve all the records. Okay. Same way, if you use find one, again, you can use some where condition here. For example, user ID equal to 1. Okay. So all the records have the user ID 1. Okay. But if you want to have the first record, okay, first record which has user ID 1, okay, it will retrieve this. Okay, something like this. Just give a minute. Yeah. So see here now. So the same find one now. Your find one, we are just mentioning find the first record, okay, that has user ID equal to 1. Okay. So it will retrieve that particular record alone. Okay. Suppose if you use find here, it will retrieve all the records which has user ID equal to 1. Okay. So it will retrieve all the records basically. Okay. So say this is how we will be applying where conditions. See, where condition. This is exactly similar to select star from posts where user ID equal to 1. Okay. So it is exactly similar to this. Okay. So same way, if you want to use for find one, okay, you need to retrieve the first record alone, right? Okay. Suppose if you want to retrieve the first record alone, you can apply the limit, right? Limit 1. Okay. It will retrieve only the first record. Okay. Exactly similar to this. Select star from post where user ID equal to 1. Okay. It will retrieve all the records. Again, select star from post where user ID equal to 1 and limiting only one record. Okay. Which means only first record should be coming. Okay. So this is exactly similar to this particular query. Okay. Clear? Clear on the where condition part? Since you asked it, I just mentioned it here. So I'll use the same example so that I can have it here. Okay. So now we just completed our read operation. Okay, with some where conditions as well. Okay. So now what we'll do is we go to update our document. Okay. Find one is completed. Okay. So we'll see update and okay. So what I'll do is I'm coming here. Now I'm going to update my record. Okay. So update. Okay. So your update, okay, will take, it is showing me an error, right? What is the reason here is your update will take 2 parameters. Okay. One is the where condition and what is the record that you want to update. Okay. So that is the purpose of your update here. Okay. For example, wherever the user ID equal to 1. Okay. So I'll see here. So wherever the user ID equal to 1, I'm going to set something like this. See here. This is how you need to update your thing here. Whenever there is an update statement, you need to know this is something called $set. Okay. So you need to have something called set here. Okay. So set and whatever that you apply here, that will be applied in your document here. For example, whenever the user ID equal to 1, okay, so whenever the user ID equal to the first condition, first parameter is your condition, second parameter is what you want to update, okay, so where and what, okay, so where and what, okay. So this is exactly similar to your update posts, okay, you're updating your post, okay, set. So whatever that you want to mention, for example, if you want to update the user ID 1 equal to something like 2, okay, you can mention it here. So it is something like user ID equal to 2, okay, where user ID equal to 1, okay, you are doing it in this way, okay. So this is exactly similar to this update post set user ID, okay, equal to 2 where user ID equal to 1, okay. Same way here, db.post.update, first parameter is your where condition, second parameter is what you want to set, okay. So where user ID equal to 1, so where user ID equal to 1, where user ID equal to 1, set user ID equal to 2, set user ID equal to 2. So what happens here, so it will update, okay, all the set whatever that you mentioned here user ID equal to 2, that will be updated in your document here, okay. So if I run this, okay, so see, we'll run them here, okay. Okay, see now, you just see here what happens. So I used update, right, okay, but it is not updating all the data, okay. So what is the reason? Any guess? It is updating only one item, which is the last record, okay. What is the reason? So if you know what I told you here, insert will work as both insert one and insert many. Same way, your update will work as update one and update many, okay. So it will work as update and update many. So in order to differentiate them like update one and update many, okay, we need to supply some parameters here, okay. So we need to supply some parameters here, okay. So here in the last third param is that particular option, okay. So again, it's going to be an object. If you mention multi, okay, equal to true, it is something like your update one, okay. Suppose if you don't mention it, it will work as your sorry, if you mention multi true, okay, it is exactly similar to your update many, okay. So multiple records you are going to update, so that's why you are mentioning true, okay. Suppose if you don't mention this, okay, it will act as a update one, okay, it will update only one record, okay. So go here, and if I use multi true, okay, so now if I go here and select that, okay, see now all the records are updated. See, 2 2 2 2 2, okay. Clear on the update part. It is exactly similar to this particular command, okay, update user ID, something like this, okay. So clear on this, clear on the update part. So update will work as both update one and update many, okay. In order to differentiate between update one and update many, you need to supply a parameter called multi equal to true, okay. So third parameter, first parameter is your condition, second parameter is what you want to update, and third parameter is how for which records you want to update, like how many records that you want to update, well, whether it's going to act as update one or whether it is going to act as a update many, okay. So that is the thing. Why is the last one has changed when it is acted as update one? This one, yeah, which one is the last inserted, that will be updated. So the last inserted will be updated, that's how it works. Instead of giving third param, can we write update many? No, you cannot do that, okay. So if you want to do that, you can directly go ahead with update many here, okay. So you don't need to mention this parameter at all, okay. If you do this, for example, if user ID equal to 2 and modify it to user ID equal to 3, update many, okay. So run this, okay. So go here and run this, see everything will be updated. Suppose if you want to use update one, okay, and if user ID equal to 3, Okay, all the user ID is 3 and modifying it to user ID equal to 4. Okay, so it will update as well. Okay, if we run this, okay, so it will update as well. Okay, so that is how your update one, update many, and update works. Okay, and see, there is a change here. Okay, update one is working as the first record. Okay, but if you use update, okay, so what I'll do is I'll use update many first and update all the records to 5. Okay, so all the records now it will be 5 now. Oh, I didn't pass. This is update menu, right? So where user ID equal to 3, sorry. So now all the records has user ID equal to 5. Now I'm going to use update. Okay, and whenever user ID equal to 5, okay, so whenever user ID equal to 5, it is going to update your 6. Okay, and the last param I'm going to pass multi equal to true. Okay, so if I do this, 6 records go here and 6 records as I mentioned. Okay, suppose if we don't pass it 6, now we are going to update them to 7. Okay, it was already 6, it is going to be 7 now. Run this. Okay, okay, so see, again it's updating the old record. Okay, so what happens here is, here we have a sort, right? Okay, I just click the sort. Okay, but it is acting as like updating the first record. So we fetched your find on, right? So what happens with find on, it is like it is fetching your first record, right? Okay, so it is not like last added record, it is like first added record. Sorry about that. Okay, so find on will act as how find on works. It is going to retrieve your first record, right? Same way how update on works is, it will update your first record. Okay, not the last updated record. So there is a one more thing called save functionality. Okay, so there is a function called save. So it will work both as your update and as insert. So insert, update. Okay, it will work as save. Okay, so there only if you mention some condition, it will update like it will take your last inserted record. Okay, so in your update section, okay, so I'm not going to show that. Okay, first see here, so update. Okay, so I will show you again. So now all the records has, okay, I will update them again. So update many, user ID equal to 6 to 7. So all the records now user ID has 7. Okay, I'm going to show you the difference now. First, I'm going to use update 1. Okay, it's going to take a condition and what you are going to update. Okay, the condition is whenever user ID equals equal to 7. Okay, I'm going to update it to 8. Okay, so if I do this, only the first record that is will be updated. Okay, see, first record is updated. Same way here, if you use update many, okay, so now what it will do is it will update for all the records which has user ID 7. Okay, so to 8. Okay, user ID 7 to 8. So if I run this, okay, so run here, everything will be updated. Suppose if you want to add both like update one and update many, we can use something called update. Okay, and here, okay, what I'll do is I'm going to update 8. So wherever the user ID equal to 8, I'm updating it to user ID 9. Okay, 8 to user ID 9. Okay, so I'm going to use update. I'm not using the third parameter, something called multi equal to true. Run this. Okay, only one record will be modified, 9. Okay, if you use the last parameter, something called multi equal to true. Okay, if you do this, it will update all the records with your user ID name 9 here. Okay, clear? Clear on this example? Update one and update many. Can everyone confirm? So it's going to be update. So update one, update single doc, update many, update multiple docs. Same way, if we use update, So what I'll do is here this object is going to be your where condition or condition. Okay. Second parameter is what you want to set. Okay, something like set here, and whatever the object that you want to set, new value. And okay, the same applies to your update menu as well, and same applies to your update. Okay. If you pass the third parameter, okay, if I don't pass the third parameter, what will happen? It will work as update single doc. Same way if we pass an extra parameter, something called multi equal to true, it will update multiple docs. Okay, that's it. So in your CRUD operation, so your create operation is done. So we have insert one, insert many, insert. Okay, same way we have read, find one, and find. Okay, same way in update, update one, update many, and update. Okay, so that is the difference here. Okay, so now the last topic for today is we have something called find one and update. Okay, so we'll see. So find one and update. So we have one more thing. So there is something called find one and update. Okay, so find one and update, okay, is exactly similar to your update one. Okay, so then what is the difference between find one and update and your find and update one? Okay, so find one update and update one. Okay, both are going to update only one record. Okay, only one record that you mention in your condition. Okay, for example, here what I have, user ID equal to 9 now. Okay, so user ID equal to 9. Okay, so see here, see I have user ID equal to 9. Okay, and I'm going to update it to user ID equal to 10. Okay, and I use something called find one and update. Okay, so now if I run this, okay, I have run this. Okay, I go here, it will work exactly the same here. Okay, so see, so user ID equal to 10. Okay, and then okay, we have something called the title here. Okay, so exactly similar to your find one. Okay, so sorry, your update one. Okay, then what is the difference between find one and update and find one is, okay, so it will retrieve you the changed response. Okay, see here, so here you have the old record here, right? So you have your old record. So if I do this, okay, so whatever the actually here it should return your updated data. Okay, so here, why is it retrieving 9? It should update your record. Okay, see if you use update one, okay, okay, so currently it's 10. Okay, so 3 data. If we run this, it will just give you the confirmation like it has been recorded. Okay, but if you use find on update, okay, it will retrieve you the updated data. Okay, so basically find on update data is to retrieve you updated data. Okay, so see, I'm using user ID equal to 9 and updating them to 10. Okay, or okay, I'll do this here. Okay, so why it is returning 9 here? So 6563. Oh, okay, got it. Okay, now see here now. You have user ID equal to 9 and user ID equal to 10. Okay, so there is only one record which has 9 now. Okay, so if I do this, so it will retrieve again 10. What is happening here? Interesting. Okay. So is it because I have user ID in the same scenario? Okay. What I'll do is for user ID equal to 10 or underscore ID. So we basically select conditions using ID. So here I'll use this as a condition. So I'm using a condition ID equal to 10. Okay. So I'm using a condition whenever the ID is this. Okay. So this particular ID 6F60. Okay. 6F60. Okay. So I'm selecting that particular data and updating my user ID or the title. Okay. So I'll use user ID equal to 10 or something like 20. Okay. If I do this, again, it's retrieving me the old record. Okay. No, actually, what happens here is find on when update will retrieve your updated data. Okay, so it will not retrieve the old data. See, still it has the old data. Okay, but it should retrieve the updated data. Okay, so what is happening here? So it will update the data and okay. So what I'll do is I will review once this. Okay. So actually it should retrieve you the updated data. Okay. So it is updated. Okay. See, it is getting updated here. Okay. But it is not retrieving the updated data. Okay. So find on update is to update it is to return your updated data. Okay. So that is the difference between find on and update one. Okay. So both are going to update only one record. Okay, but it will retrieve okay the updated data. But if you use update one, it will just give you the confirmation. Okay, it will just give you a confirmation like this has been updated. Okay, but find on and update will retrieve it will update and retrieve that particular record. Okay, so that is how find on the update. Okay, I will see it once and we'll review once and show it tomorrow. Okay, so db dot collection dot name here, find one and update. Okay, and everything else is same. So this is same and no multi here. So what it does, update single doc and retrieve retrieve updated doc, update single doc and retrieve the updated update doc. Okay. Yeah, so I will confirm this alone. Okay, so we'll try it and see so what is the issue with final and update. Okay, so other than this, clear on this part, update. Other than this, these are all clear, right? So only thing is you need to understand here is first is your where condition, second is your what is the data that you want to update. Okay, in the case of update one and find update many. Okay, same if you use update. Okay, you can use the third parameter which is something called multi-true. If you use this, it will work as your update many. If you use this will work as a update one. Okay, same way there is one more thing called find on and update. Okay, so it will update again, it's going to work as your update one. Okay, only thing is it is going to retrieve the updated data, but it will retrieve only the confirmation. Okay, clear on this? Can everyone confirm? I will confirm this alone. Okay, sorry about that. We'll confirm this tomorrow. Okay. So the last thing is deleting. Okay. So deleting our record. So deleting our record is very simple. There is only a method called remove. Okay. So go here. There is a method called remove. Okay. If you remove this, okay, if you use this, what will happen here is, okay, it will remove all the documents. Okay. So basically here you need to mention some condition. Okay. If you mention this, it will remove all the document. Okay. So here, if you mention some condition, for example, if we go here, so if you want to remove user ID equal to 20 alone, okay, I can mention user ID equal to 20. Okay, if you do this, remove, okay, it will be removed. And if you go here and run, okay, that particular record will be removed. Okay, so it will work as both the one, like remove one and remove many. Okay, there is no different things like remove and remove many. There is only one function, one is remove and one is remove many. Okay, so if you give some condition based on that, it will remove. Okay, so that is what you are removed as. So remove is to delete your document. Okay, so delete your existing document based on the condition. Okay, so go here, db dot remove. If we do this, it will delete all docs. Okay, db. Okay, basically both are going to delete multiple docs. Okay, based on the condition. So whatever the condition that you mentioned, it will delete the multiple docs. Okay, so whatever the condition that you mentioned, it will delete. Okay, suppose if you use user ID equal to 10, okay, it is going to record, it is going to delete all the record. Okay, suppose if you mention like title equal to EUM and other things, okay, it is going to record only this particular record. Okay, so based on the condition, your remove will work. Okay, it is not like it is going to delete multiple data or a single data. It is going to delete docs based on condition. Okay, so there is nothing called update or delete one or delete many. Okay, clear on the deleting part. Okay, yeah. So can we delete only title part data alone and keep remaining same? Okay, you cannot do that. So you need to then update. Okay, so then you should update your data. Okay, and remove that particular part alone. So remove of this will delete. Yes, it will delete all the data. Okay, so basically it will delete all the data. Yeah, for the find one and update. Okay, I think I like here. Yeah, found the solution here. Okay, so we use find one and update here, right? So we have find one and update here. Okay, so what happens here is I told you you can mention some conditions. Okay, suppose here user ID equal to 10. Okay, so I'll mention a condition user ID equal to 10. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll update this alone 20 for now. Okay, so to have a condition based on that. So user ID equal to 20. Okay, here what you need to update, set user ID equal to 22. I'm going to modify to 21, something like this. Okay, so what happens if you run this? What happens? It retrieves your old data, right? Okay, so that is the behavior. Okay, so I missed a parameter basically. So here, okay, So they have updated their documentation. Okay, so before like MongoDB, I think it's 3. Okay, so in a MongoDB 3 version, okay, it will update your it will give you your new record. Okay, so basically in that way. Okay, but in the latest version, what happens here is you need to pass a parameter as a third parameter here. Okay, something like new equal to true. Okay, so if you do this, okay, so what happens here is it will give you the retrieved record. Okay, the changes that you made. Okay, so basically it is going to retrieve, okay, whatever the data that you want to mention. Okay, so new equal to true. See, again it's not taking. What is my MongoDB version? So I use 3.6.2. Then I don't need this parameter at all. It should work. So 21 to 22. Okay. So 22 to 21. Yeah, now, no. Okay. Okay, I will see this parameter alone and let you know. Okay, so it depends on the version. Okay, so in the case of your, for example, just give a minute. I'll use false here. So currently it's 21. I'm going to select the 21 and update it to 22. No. Okay. So here there are two parameters. One is return original and something called new. Okay. I'll check that particular property alone. Okay. So what happens here is if you use return original, so it depends on the version. So I use MongoDB 3.6.2. Okay. So based on the version, they have updated the documentation. The current version is it's MongoDB 4, I think. Yeah. So in your fourth version, you need to use something called new equal to true. So what it means is after updating the data, retrieve the newly updated data, not the old one. Okay, so that is what you need to use. Okay, but what happens here, I'm not sure. Okay, in the case of 3.6.2, we will use something called return original. Okay, but this is also not working now. Okay, we'll see it and check. So yeah. You'll see it in tomorrow. I will confirm that alone. It depends on the version basically. Okay. So clear? Do you guys have any other questions before we wind up the session? So that's all about the thing. And deleting a field. So deleting a field is actually like you need to update the document. Okay. So you need to update that particular document inside the field. Okay. You cannot directly delete it. You can either replace your existing document. Okay. So I'll show you tomorrow. I have one more condition, right? I told you, right? I have something called save. Okay, so I have one more thing called save. Okay, I'll show it tomorrow. Okay, what happens here is your save, I'll just give you a introduction. Okay, save, what happens here is for your save, if you have ID, okay, so inside your ID, for example, here you will be sending your ID here. Okay, so save will take directly your object. Okay, no where condition and other things. Okay, so db, so I'll type it here, db dot collection dot save. Okay, it will take only one parameter. Okay, if you use this, okay, if you pass ID inside it, it will update. Okay, suppose if you don't pass ID, it will create as a new record. Okay, so your save will work as both your update and both your insert. Okay, it will work as expected. So you guys asked me, right, deleting a field. Okay, so what you need to do is here you can mention that ID. Okay, so for example, if you want to delete your title, okay, you need not mention title here. Okay, so what happens here is your save will entirely change your document. Okay, for example, you have So I will show it now. See here. You will use save. Okay. So I will cover it today itself. Okay. See. Save. Okay. If you mention an ID inside your object, okay, see here, if you mention some ID inside it, something like iPhone ID, something like this, okay, it will work as your update. Okay, suppose if you don't mention it, it will insert the record. Okay, so now user ID equal to 21, right? Okay, so if I do this, okay, see, it is inserted. Okay, so it will record a new record with user ID 1 and title is empty here. See, so it doesn't have a property called title. Okay, same way, if you want to update, okay, same way, I'm going to take this. Okay, I'm going to take this as a where condition now. Suppose if you pass ID to this, now it will work as a update. Okay, suppose if you want to update your title now, okay, or if you want to update your body, okay. So for example, if I want to update my user ID, currently it's user ID 21, right? I'm modifying it to 23 and add some properties like title equal to something like this. If I do this, okay, it will be updated. Okay, and see, now 22 and sorry, 23 and title is updated. Okay, suppose you ask me, you guys ask me a question like I need to delete a particular field. Okay, so for example, for user ID 22, okay, for user ID 22, so what is the ID? So this is the ID. Okay, so user ID 22, I need to delete my title. Okay, so you should delete, if you want to delete your title, okay, basically you should mention the current record basically here. Okay, so user ID equal to 22. Okay, and if you don't mention anything, okay, so what happens here is this record will entirely, this particular document will entirely be replaced in this place. Okay, not the field. Okay, see, object ID of 10. Now you have mentioned user ID equal to 22, right? What happens here is for this ID, what records do we have? So for user ID 20, for this record, what do we have? So 5F, right? So for your 5F, okay, what records we have? User ID equal to 22, title equal to something, and body equal to something. Okay. Suppose if you update it using save, okay, the same ID, whatever the data that you have in this particular object, that will be entirely replaced into that particular record. Okay. So now your record will have only 22. Okay. If I do this, okay. So if I go here, see, title and body property will be removed. Okay, it will be entirely overwritten. Okay, your save functionality will, whatever that you pass in inside it, okay, it will entirely modify your document. Okay, so see, now it has only the user ID and the ID property. If I to show you JSON, see, only ID and user ID is there, not the title and body. So using this, if you want to remove a particular field, you can do that. Okay, clear on your question? So I had the save functionality in tomorrow's agenda. Okay, so since you asked this, I can cover it today itself. Clear? So do I rush it this? So do I rush the things here with the save, or is it clear? So that is the difference between your update one, and that is the difference between update and save. Okay, so what happens here is save will work as both your insert and update. If you pass an ID, okay, if it matches with your ID in your document, okay, so if it matches any ID in your document here, okay, it will update. Okay, basically it will act as an update. Suppose if you don't mention any ID, okay, and have only those properties, it will insert those documents inside your as a new document inside your collection. Okay, same way, okay, if you mention some ID and mention some properties here, you can add some property or remove some property. Whatever the document that you mentioned here, it will be entirely updated inside this particular document. Okay, the matching document. Okay, so for example, I have something called user ID equal to 22 only. Okay, so your title and body that was earlier here, right, that will be removed. So entirely your document will be updated. Okay, but in the case of update, okay, only that particular field will be updated. Okay, not the entire document. Okay, clear? I will have the save as well here. Okay, so this is what we covered today. I missed to update find on and update only. Okay, so I will show you find on and update only tomorrow. Okay, so it needs to be, it is exactly similar to update on. Only thing is it needs to be added a certain parameter. Okay, to retrieve the data. Okay, So what is the difference between update one and find one and update? Both does the same. Both does update, like it will update only one document. Okay, both takes where condition, both takes set value exactly same. Only thing is it will return you what is updated, like count. Okay, what is a record updated, but find one and update will retrieve the record, okay, that we updated. Okay, so based on the parameter that we send in the third parameter, it will retrieve either the old record or the new record. Okay, so we need to add a flag inside it. Okay, I will show it tomorrow. Okay, so it depends on the version. Okay, clear? Collectively, do you guys have any questions? And MongoDB is non-relatable. Can you link one collection to another in a different? No, there is no relationship at all. You cannot relate one database management system with another. Okay, like one collection with another, you cannot do that. Yeah, so collectively, do you guys have any questions on today's topic? Can everyone confirm? Yeah, so please try out these commands. Okay, so these will be the commands that we use in our node application. Okay, so we need to know what is create collection and not with the collection level, at least like CRUD operation. Okay, insert node and insert many. Okay, so you might need this. Please practice them. Okay, use the same data that we have here. Okay, so we have post data here, right? So for example, go to something like users. Okay, if we manually add ID, will the random ID will be generated again? Random ID means, okay, see here, your random ID is underscore ID. Okay, not the ID column. Underscore ID differs from your ID. Okay, suppose if you mention ID column, okay, so manually, okay, if it looks like an object ID, it will insert. Okay, so basically it will insert if there is an ID column. Okay, that is the thing. If you manually add it, it will take it as an object ID. Okay, underscore ID. It will add as something like a key to that, or a reference to that particular record. Okay, you can add manual. Okay, see, this is the difference. This is the randomly generated ID, underscore ID, not this ID. Okay, so that is the thing. So now, okay, I need to mention you something. See here, I have a collection called post. Okay, so I have a collections called post. Okay, so I can insert a data using db.post. Okay, something like insert many. I can do this. So insert many, I can pass something like an array of object. Okay, suppose if I don't have a, if you want to insert a users collection. Okay, so you need not go to the collection, like create collection and do these things. Okay, if you insert a record like db.users, okay, it will automatically create a collection for you. Okay, see here, db.users. So users are not here, right? There is no collection here, right? I am going to use users here, and I'm going to insert many records. So basically I'm going here and take this array and use it here. Okay, I'm going to insert this. So it's inserted, 10 records are there. Okay, so if I refresh, see, there are users details, 10 user in our database. See, the same data that we have here, right here. See, object ID, double string. So see, address is an object, right? Address is an object. It is stored as an object. You can open that. Okay, so you can open that particular object is having string. Same way geo and other things. Okay, company. So you can this is how you can even create your collection in this way. Okay, it's not like you need to create collection and create the collections. Okay, if you insert a new record, it will automatically create a collection for you. Okay, so these are all some flexibilities that are given by your GUI, MongoDB. Okay, some flexibilities. You don't need this. You don't need. You can use drop. Okay, once you insert, automatically a collection will be created. Okay, so that is the thing. So please refresh this. Okay, just have the same URL JSON placeholder and try inserting the data inside your database. Okay, so try these commands. Okay, without fail, because we will be using it in our node application. Okay, so that is the thing. explain one more time. So which one? The insertion part. Yeah, see here. So I didn't have my users collection at all, right? Okay, I didn't use db dot create collection of users. Okay, I didn't do this. Okay, but how come your users collection is created? I just inserted my data, right? So I just inserted my data, right? Okay, so you need not create a collection. Okay, you can, if you want to, if you insert a particular data here, if you mention any name, something like this, okay, it will create a collection in this name, okay, and it will insert the data. Okay, you need not do like db dot create collection and again. Okay, so that's what I was mentioning. So if I use something like test, okay, see, it will create a collection for you. Okay, so refresh. See, test is having the data. Okay, so that's the thing. So you can, whenever you insert a data to a collection, okay, you don't need to use a create collection. You can directly insert the data directly inside your database, inside your collections. Okay, clear? Yeah. So that's it for today. I will share you these things. Feedback link column I will share you shortly. So this is the topics for today. It's going to be 29. And what else? I need to share this document, right? Yes. Desktop, Mongo. Yeah, there it is. I need to share you the feedback form. So here is the feedback form. Okay, it has both the dates, yesterday's date and today's date. You can fill in your feedback there. Okay. Can you change the date? Oh, sorry, it's July, right? Sorry. I just take a copy from my old sessions. It's July. Okay. Yeah, I have shared you the feedback link, and it has both the things. Okay, both the dates. So please fill out the feedback for both the dates. Okay. Yeah. Thank you guys, and see you tomorrow. And please try out these comments. Okay. Please don't leave it. Try them. Yeah. Bye. See you tomorrow.